Hello guys! Welcome to my channel, Rex TV. Guys, ating pag-uusapan ngayon yung nangyari noong 1918. Yung unang pandemic na nangyari na kumitil ng 50 milyon katao. So ngayon, ano yung nangyari sa Spanish? Kung sinasabi ng Spanish flu, totoo pala yun. Nag-search ako sa YouTube, sa Google. Kaya ako ito ginawang vlog na to. Dahil dun sa mga naiinip sa bahay, na 3 months pa lang, 4 months, ako ang nagsasabi sa inyo, dahil totoo nga pala, yung unang nangyaring pandemic sa buong mundo. Guys, bago tayo magpatuloy sa ating tinatalakay sa Spanish flu noong 1918, pakisubscribe muna ng aking YouTube channel, Rex TV, para updated ka sa aking mga video i-upload. Salamat naman at nag-subscribe ka na dahil sa video na to, alam ko na marami kang mapupulot na ating gagawin sa kasalukuyan para hindi tayo mahantong sa nangyari noong 1918. So, paano nga nangyari po yung aking sinasabi na maraming namatay? Ipapakita ko po sa inyo yung video na totoo po yung aking nakita at nag-search na nga po ako sa YouTube at sa Google. Noong 1918 nga po ay marami po ang namatay dahil yung iba ay hindi nag-ingat. Meron na rin tinatawag silang social distancing, nakita ko, at nagilihilira sila ang dami. So, nakakalungkot na kung sakasakali yung mga pasaway diyan na sinasabing mag-stay sa loob ng bahay, social distancing, tundin ninyo, mag-mask. Ako na po ang nagsasabi na sundin po natin yung pinapatupad na batas. Saan man tayo naroon, sa ating barangay, kung saan man kayo naroon, ay sundin po natin yung pinaiiral na batas para po tayo makaiwas at hindi natin danasin yung nangyari noong 1918. So, paano natin may iwasan yung nangyari noong 1918? Guys, para hindi natin danasin yung nangyari nga noong 1918, sumunod sa pinag-uutos ng batas, number 1. Number 2, stay at home. Number 3, social distancing, ipagpatuloy pa rin, huwag baliwalain, huwag mainip sa loob ng bahay. At yung iba'y mahilig sa gala-gala nga at mga gimmick. So ngayon, stop na muna yan, stop po, utang na loob. At number 4, para hindi kayo mainip, mag-TikTok na lang kayo, okay? So guys, ito na po yung mga picture at video na totoo pala yung nangyari noong 1918. So guys, ito na po.
Memories of the pandemic of 1918 loom over the current global battle against the coronavirus. And though it's too soon to say how comparable the current outbreak will be, there are lessons to be learned from that earlier time, as we hear from Martha Teichner.
The altitude Spanish flu for coronavirus, 1918 for 2020. And just look. Seattle seized by the Godzilla of modern pandemics. The 1918 flu killed 675,000 Americans. 50 to 100 million people died worldwide.
And that's equivalent to 225 to 450 million people today. Most. The numbers are staggering.
John Barry wrote a history of the 1918 flu. He is on the adjunct faculty of Tulane University.
There was a mild spring wave that was hit or miss. It came back in the fall with more than a vengeance.
During 4 years of fighting. As opposed to the coronavirus, the most vulnerable were in their 20s.
The most horrific symptoms really were you could bleed not only from your nose and mouth, but from your eyes and ears. People were turning so dark blue from lack of oxygen. In the book, I quote one doctor writing a colleague saying that he could not tell white soldiers from African-American soldiers.
It was called the Spanish flu, but that was only because Spain, which was not at war, allowed the press to report on it openly, unlike here. The first serious outbreak in the United States began at Camp Funston, now Fort Riley in Kansas. As infected soldiers from across the country made their way to the trenches in France, the virus spread. But the nation wasn't told. A year earlier, President Woodrow Wilson had rammed through Congress the Sedition Act, making it a crime to say or publish anything negative that would affect the war effort.
Wilson created what was called the Committee for Public Information. The architect of that committee said, "Truth and falsehood are arbitrary terms. The force of an idea lies in its inspirational value. It matters very little if it is true or false."
Was that a license to lie to the American public?
It was precisely that. In the United States, you had national public health leaders saying such things as, quote, "This is ordinary influenza by another name," unquote. At the local level, the same kind of thing was occurring.
With deadly consequences, no more so than in Philadelphia, which went ahead with a huge war bond parade in the fall of 1918, when the virus was at its most virulent. Newspapers killed stories, quoting the medical community saying, "Don't do it."
So 48 hours later, influenza exploded around the city. The result is it's one of the hardest hit cities in the world, and the mass graves being dug by steam shovels and so forth.
And how many people died?
About 14,500 in Philadelphia.
Compare the signs that went up then to now. Notice that hand washing wasn't mentioned. Americans could see for themselves in spite of what they were told. They thought they were less likely to catch the flu outside. They did whatever they could, given what they didn't know.
Back in 1918, they had no idea what it was that they were suffering from and what it was that they were being killed by. And to me, that's the most frightening aspect of the 1918 epidemic.
Dr. Jeremy Brown is Director of Emergency Care Research at the National Institutes of Health, but spoke to us in a personal capacity.
Viruses would not be discovered for another 15 or 20 years. That's very different to today. We know what it is that is causing the disease.
Brown has written extensively about influenza and argues that 2020 will not be another 1918, thanks to advances in science.
Back in 1918, the basic treatments that were offered were enemas, whiskey, and bloodletting. Hospitals as we know them today were quite different. There were no intensive care doctors who really understand how to treat the very sickest patients. There were no antibiotics to treat any secondary infection. So it was a very, very different time and a very different way of practicing medicine back then.
But for John Barry, there is a takeaway from then that still applies.
Guys, napanood po ninyo sa video at ngayon ko rin lang napanood dito ng buo. Hindi lang pala 50 million yung nasawi, kundi 52 million dahil nagkameron nga po pala ng World War ng panahon na yon. At kaya marami ang namatay. So guys, dagdag pa po paalala, kailangan po nating palakasin natin ang ating immune system. Kumain po tayo ng mga prutas, saging, yung mga saging yan, nandiyan lang naman sa ating bakuran. Baka meron kayong mga tanim sa tindahan, meron din. Okay, bili po tayo kung may pambili. At syempre, yung apple at lemon, maganda rin sa katawan yan. At syempre, para lang makas ang ating immune system, kainin po natin yan. At ang pinakamaganda, mag-exercise din. Yun ang masasabi ko. At yung pong sinasabi nila, mag-sanitizer, mag-alcohol, maghugas ng kamay, at yung ating kabahayan, linisin para iwas sa sakit. So guys, hanggang dito na lang po. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and share. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, PexTV. God bless guys. Bye.